the conferences like Konendi and all sorts of other conferences are really the key to learn the basics. This is you can learn a lot in school, you can learn a lot in courses, but here you get the real experience, the real use cases of what people are doing. And in particular on AI, there's more and more papers showing the use cases of AI, which you can then also take and try to implement on your use cases and try to take it to the next step and then present your results again to get into this exchange, because together we can do so much more than if it's just you working on your own problem and your own thing. I think one of the core parts is most of us have kind of either were trained into using some technology or studied physics or math or some engineering, and we all we all know how to work on technology. But we often forget that the technology actually has to be used by humans. And with the digital transformation, we are coming into something where we have more and more groups which have to work together. So actually the human factor, now that we're using more technology, the human factors are getting even more important. So this is why, in my experience, if I look into companies which are trying to use AI, robotics, digital transformation, all the modern things, they kind of have some success in the beginning, but then after half a year of development, they see, oh, my management doesn't like it. My employees don't want to use it. It's just a shiny toy which doesn't bring me anything real. And there are so many human reasons why projects are failing. Perhaps it's also that we do not have the right skill sets. Or we are putting our projects onto somebody who has already a workload of 120%. So the human aspect is actually more important, or becoming even more important, than what we had in the past. So that is the one thing I can tell you is, if you want to really get working, start with some training, start with getting a little bit knowledge of technology, because you will need it later on. But at some point, get somebody external to help you have a look on the human aspects, because we are all not trained in taking the human aspects with us. This is something I also had to learn. I'm a physicist, and for me it was always, yes, I have a problem, I develop the technology, and then I roll this out and I'm done with it. Unfortunately, I also tried it in the beginning of my NDE 4.0 journey, and I saw that my consulting activities in the beginning weren't really successful, because actually nobody wanted to listen to me. And then we kind of turned this whole story around and started to do workshops where we didn't tell now the people what we were thinking that they should be doing. No, we were listening to what they were telling us. We were using methods to get more out of the humans, so that finally we together as a group could develop a future for that company, which then is giving us, yes, something everybody really wants and everybody really believes in, because then it will also be a success. So the NDE 4.0 is the supposed fourth revolution in NDE. We started with doing some looking at our components and perhaps using some our human senses to see what's going on with our components, to see if we manufactured something, is that something we want to use, yes or no? And that is something we are now doing for thousands of years. In the beginning it was some, even if you produced some sword, you were using a small hammer or something like that, banging on it to see, oh, will that thing break while I'm doing something with it? And then it developed. We were using procedures, we were using magnifying glasses, hammers, tools. Then we got into something where we used physical knowledge to actually look deeper into the components, like using ultrasonics or X-ray or infrared or whatever, which also enabled us looking into the components. So this was and then came the third revolutions with all the digital, using a digital UT device, using a digital X-ray device. And now we are coming to this fourth revolution. And we are kind of in the middle of this fourth revolution. And this fourth revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, that name was coined 2011 at the Hanover Fair in Germany. NDE 4.0, that term was coined then somewhere in 2017. But it wasn't that the revolution really had started back then. People could see that something will happen, but they didn't really know what it will be in essence. So since then it has developed a lot. And we could see a lot of emerging technology develop to a state so that they are now really shaping what NDE 4.0, what Industry 4.0, what digital transformation will eventually be. And currently, the hottest topic is clearly artificial intelligence. In my eyes, if we think about in 2 years, at Abendi in 2 years, or if we think about the World Conference in 3 years in Argentina, AI will most likely be the topic everybody is speaking about. And there is so much to it, and there is so much happening. If we think about those large language models, there's every half year there is a model coming out which is a factor 100 better than all the models before. And now we're coming to agentic AIs and AI agents which are supporting us better than it was ever before, which can actually also correct things, which can access data sources, which can access our instruments, perhaps where we can automatically connect some NDE data source automatically to our AI, and then using a large language model to actually process some of our NDE data automatically. And I know that I've talked yesterday with somebody from Petrobras, and they were telling me that they already started using AI agents to actually do exactly that. And they want to put up a pretty interesting group here in Brazil to work on those topics, how to make this the next step in NDE. But besides AI, there is more to come. There is, and because with those AI agents, currently what you have to do is, for every access to every data source, you need to program an individual interface. But we can have thousands of data sources. So programming thousands of interfaces is perhaps not the thing we all want to do. So having open interfaces, open data formats will be one of the next essential steps to make us really gather all that data so that we can integrate all of that into our AI solution. Or we don't need AI for all of it. We could also just do this, gathering all the data so that and also we have currently an NDE. If I think about a typical NDE inspector, a typical NDE inspector actually uses about 50% of his time for administrative functions. Reading, okay, where do I have to go to? Reading a procedure, understanding the procedure, going to some location and writing some reports, then correcting reports, corresponding with the customer, sending something to the customer, writing some invoice. There's a lot of stuff going on where the inspector has to do something which he's not trained for. And we need him urgently to actually do inspections. So if we would take all of those small steps and have a workflow system which could actually support this inspector to come up with, to have an easier way of handling all his administrative functions, that would also be a great benefit for our NDE society or for our NDE ecosystem. So I hope I've shown a little bit of, there is a lot to it. AI is just the beginning. There will be so much more to come. And we try to talk about this a little bit in our book, The World of NDE 4.0, which is also available from Abendi in Portuguese language. And in this book, we painted a little bit a picture of the future, so that it gives you an impression of what could be some of the use cases. But again, we're doing this for us as humans, and there is so many possibilities that you might be, where should I start? So that is one of the key things, and you need to work on a good roadmap. A good roadmap including human factors, including the technology development, so that at the end you really reach something which brings you benefits. And have some early on success stories, which you can also show your management and show them, oh, this is why NDE 4.0 is so great. But then also have some longer term goals, so that which you perhaps can reach in 3 years or in 5 years or in 10 years. So that, because the real big use cases, the real big things bringing you value will take some time, and it will take you some money to get there. But if you have some quick success stories in between, you can already show the value you are bringing. And then finally down in 10 years, you can really show the big use case, and then everybody will be satisfied.